Chapter 15. Mr. Mahadev Rao Datar, my father, Baba, the one who made me an entrepreneur. The quality of a father can be seen in the goals, dreams, and aspirations he sets not only for himself but for his family. By Reed Markham. Frankly speaking, the personality of my father, my Baba, had always been a mystery or a puzzle for me. My relation with my mother, my I, was always full of intimacy and affinity. But the same with my father was neutral or somewhat distant. It doesn't mean that I did not have any love for him, but that love always remained confined in my heart, and I never dared to express it in words before him. I felt awe for him from childhood, and the feeling continued for my entire life. I had the habit of sharing my thoughts, ideas, and feelings frankly with I. But in front of Baba, I hardly opened my mouth. Besides, he himself was a grave and taciturn person. Barring some sparse expectations, I don't remember any debate or even humor between us. Having started his career in defense services, Baba always remained a discipline-loving person. He was so strict in his principles that he neither crossed his limits nor allowed us to break the framework he had set. Fear about his short temper always kept me at a distance. Of course, I will not blame him. Every family head in that period was like that. Every member of the family would have awe for the father. At the same time, it is true that the awe inculcated good morals among the next generation. I came to know from I that the first interaction between Baba and I was not friendly at all. When I was born, I had suffered a lot of delivery pains, and at last the doctors had to apply forceps to relieve her. The forceps made injuries on my face, making it swollen with black marks of wounds. When my father saw my face, he was shocked and instantly reacted to my mother. "What an ugly baby we have produced." A nurse standing nearby after hearing his remark was very surprised. She told him that those were temporary marks and would get cured soon. Only then he was convinced. In my childhood, my younger brother Sanjay and I would play and also fight a lot. Although the fights were in the form of playful and friendly wrestling between two toddlers, sometimes they would turn into an overpowering game. I, as the elder brother, would always maintain a lead over my brother, and then we would settle it amicably. We would take utmost care not to complain about each other to Baba. But one day, an unfortunate incident took place, and Baba came to know about our fights. As usual, we were playing a wrestling game, and that too in the kitchen. There was a pot nearby full of milk. In an attempt to overpower Sanjay, I pressed his head tightly and dipped his face in the pot. I was unaware at that time that the milk was just boiled and very hot. When Sanjay began to scream with pain, I became frightened and backed away from him. His face was burned. I called my mother and she took Sanjay to a doctor. When Baba returned home from work in the evening, he came to know what had happened. He was so furious with me that he took a rubber pipe from the bathroom and lashed it on my back so hard that it created black wounds. Later, both Sanjay and I were healed, and our pranks and fight also came to an end forever. But since then, I have also never dared to go very close to my father and protected myself from getting beaten black and blue. When I went to Dubai to join my father in the shop, I was in my 20s. I had passed my higher secondary certificate examination and was dreaming to go abroad for any job to acquire instant wealth. Baba didn't like my haste. He had set up a business in Dubai, but was reluctant to call me there for his help. He was expecting me to complete my graduation living in India. But soon he found it difficult to handle the entire business management on his own and had to agree to my travel. That was the reason I had received a cold welcome from him after my arrival in Dubai. I would wonder for a long time why he hadn't come to the airport to receive me. Upon my arrival, when I called him to inform about my arrival, he coldly asked me to wait outside the airport. He sent a delivery van for me. When I settled with him, he first assigned me tasks like cooking, sweeping, cleaning. I never argued with him, but questioned internally why my father was allotting such chores to me, which otherwise could be done by the workers. He engaged me in business but hardly spent leisure moments with me. He never accompanied me on weekend tours in and around the city. I spent the initial 4 years in Dubai lonely and bored without any entertainment. Baba never took cognizance of my feelings. When our business was at a loss, I worked hard and lived a frugal lifestyle for 4 years. I would work almost 16 hours every day to bring the business back on track, but Baba never appreciated my efforts. On the contrary, he once asked me a very strange and shocking question: whether I had the habit of stealing money from the cash box. I was stunned to hear such unexpected words from him. How could a father distrust his son neglecting his hard work and devotion? I preferred silence and avoided the war of words. He quickly forgot the incident, but I couldn't. When Baba retired from business, he handed over the responsibility of Al Adil Trading Company and its retail shops across the UAE to me. He went to India and began living peacefully with my mother in Mumbai. He remained an industrious and self-dependent person. Baba had set a rather strange practice of paying me monthly wages like any other worker in the shop. It continued for more than a decade. Despite being the son of the owner and also managing director of Al Adil Trading Company, my actual status was a mere salaried employee. Baba kept the sole proprietorship with him even after his retirement from the business. Eventually, he settled in Mumbai. Things were manageable until I got married and had 2 children. It became difficult for me to manage the expenses within the limited salary. During one of my regular visits to Mumbai, I boldly demanded to Baba to give me some share from the annual profit to cover my rising expenses. He coldly asked me if this boldness had been taught to me by my wife. I didn't retort and kept silent. Perhaps Baba thought over my condition and realized my dilemma. The next day, he laid a proposal before me. He offered me the entire annual profit, provided I would give him a fixed share as proprietor's right for his lifetime. I accepted and followed the agreement diligently. I would hand over his share every 6 months sincerely without fail. The practice continued regularly. During one such visit, I's words prompted me to rethink my misconceptions about Baba. It so happened that I handed over the check to Baba as usual, and he kept it in his pocket without any reaction. He casually inquired how the business was going and then walked away. I then turned to I to have a chat over a cup of tea. I asked I in a jesting manner, "I have been observing Baba for so long. Everything changes over a period of time, but he is unchanged." I stared at me and smilingly replied, "Dada, remove this misconception from your mind. We have been with each other for more than 5 decades, and I know him better than anyone. Of course, he is taciturn by nature and dislikes discursive talking, but that doesn't mean he is crusty. He is an affectionate father and also a caring guardian. He loves us so much. Put yourself in his place and think. Perhaps you will get your answers." I pondered over I's advice and imagined myself in Baba's place. Surprisingly, the mist of misconception between us started diminishing, and I could clearly see the hidden aspects of his great personality unfolded. Baba was, in fact, mutely creating an entrepreneur in me. He always expected me to become a seasoned and skillful businessman. He taught me in the style of a strict teacher, but at the same time also inculcated discipline, worship of work, patience, endurance, adaptability, and a lot more qualities which are essential to being a good and successful businessman. I was mistakenly watching him only from my side, but had never put my feet in his shoes. He had made me do a lot of hard work, but his motive was to make me tough and prepared for every challenge. His strict discipline had always proved beneficial for me and my business. Once I realized this, a new, noble image of my father began to take shape in my mind. I passed away in 2003. After her demise, Baba survived only 5 more years. The shock of losing his life partner made him sadder day by day, but he hid his emotions from us. Despite being lonely, he continued his life without any complaint or seeking any help from others. He had an affinity for gardening and developed a beautiful terrace garden. Whenever we visited him, he would always talk about his plants with pride and joy. One visit, when I saw him cleaning each plant with a toothbrush carefully for a long time, I asked, "Baba, why do you spend so much time cultivating the plants yourself? Just give them water, fertilizers, sunlight regularly, and they will grow naturally." Baba looked straight at me and smilingly replied, "My son, do you think it is sufficient? No. You always have to protect the plants from insects, maggots, and pests. Sometimes birds pluck and eat the tender buds. Those who eradicate the pests in initial stage and keep a vigil on their plants will later enjoy watching the beautiful blossoms. Remember, it is equally true in nurturing both life and business." Then he murmured to himself, "I am enjoying the blossoms." Baba and I connected emotionally in 2006. He was then living in Ladkaranja, our native town. His health suddenly deteriorated and he was admitted to a local hospital in Akola. Sanjay and I immediately brought him to Mumbai for further medical treatment. After some days, he partially recovered from the illness, but as a result of severe weakness, he was not able to speak. One day when I visited him, he was lying unconscious in bed. A sudden wave of sadness overcame me, seeing him in that helpless condition. Tears rolled out of my eyes. I sat beside him, kissed his forehead and caressed his hand. I said, "Baba, don't disappoint me. Please get well soon and come home. We need you. I have promised to take care of you and keep you happy forever. I have to fulfill my duty. You will be happy to know that our company have earned huge profit. Please open your eyes." I didn't know whether my words were reaching to him. Everyone, including my family, relatives and employees, was praying to God for Baba's health and wellness. The Almighty might have responded our prayers. 2 days later, Baba came to his senses and began speaking. I went to see him and expressed my happiness. Baba asked me, "Dada, I feel like 2 days ago you were talking about something to me. I was only hearing your words, but my mind was not able to capture their meaning. What was it?" I repeated my words, and with tears in my eyes I confessed, "Baba, through all these years, I couldn't understand your greatness. I love you so much and don't want to alienate myself from you." Baba took me in his arms, patted my back and said, "Dada, don't worry. I will be all right soon. Remember, being the family head, you should not shed tears any time." Then he unexpectedly gave a humorous twist to our emotional dialogue and asked me, "You were telling me that our company has achieved a huge profit. That means I am entitled to get an increased share in it. Where is my check?" His words amused me and I couldn't stop myself from laughing. Baba also smilingly teased me, "Remember, I am a seasoned businessman. You can't evade me so easily with an emotional speech." Baba spent the next 2 years with us happily. He loved us, guided us, and we enjoyed the warmth of his affection like never before. He then expressed his wish to live in Mumbai. We had arranged a caretaker staff for his service. It was the 27th of November 2008, just a day before the unfortunate incidents of the Mumbai bomb blasts had occurred. Baba, as usual, watched the news on television and went to sleep. In the middle of the night, he felt uneasy and was admitted to a hospital. I was unfortunately not besides him. Hearing about his bad health, I caught the next flight and reached Mumbai. Alas, he had taken his last breath. At home, when we were all mourning, Baba's home nurse arrived and handed a diary to me. She told me that Baba had reminded her continually to give it only to me. Since we were all busy with the funeral rites, I kept the diary in my pocket without opening it. That night, before going to bed, I suddenly remembered the diary. As I began reading it, my eyes filled with tears. Baba had written every detail of his bank account in the diary. He had never spent his share of the profit. Instead, he had saved the entire amount as a bank deposit and gifted the enormous sum to me. I realized then that Baba had actually desired nothing from me. He had only been testing my honesty. When I satisfied his expectations, he rewarded me enormously. That was the highest prize I have ever gotten. Our Al Adil Group inaugurated its 35th superstore in Meena Bazaar area of Dubai. Meena Bazaar is such a prestigious and happening marketplace that no tourist leaves Dubai without making a visit there for shopping. 36 years ago, Baba and I had been passing through this market. Baba caught my attention by pointing at a building and said, "Dada, this building is an ideal space for our business. If we start our shop here, it will fetch a good profit. What do you think?" I couldn't stop myself from laughing at this idea because in those days our business was in loss and we had to borrow money from others to keep it running. I replied, "Baba, your dream is very good, but the space is unaffordable for us. We are not sure whether we will sustain in business or will have to close it, and you are talking about starting a new shop." Baba didn't like my pessimistic approach. He gravely told me, "Look, profit and loss, or boom and recession, are parts of the business wheel. A true businessman should not step back like a coward. He should patiently wait for a favorable time and always think positively." Remember a famous quote by a noted poet, P.B. Shelley. "O wind, if winter comes, can spring be far behind?" I always cherished Baba's wish and encouraging words deep in my mind. I never gave up attempts to buy that particular space even after Baba's demise. At last, after 33 years, I was successful in purchasing it. It was a moment of mixed feelings for me. I was happy that I had fulfilled my father's last wish, but at the same time felt sorrow that Baba was not there to enjoy the moment. Dear Baba, this year I have been honorably included in the list of top 10 Indian billionaires in the GCC region. I know you and I must be sending blessings to me from heaven. When I first landed in Dubai, I had just 3 notes of 10 dirham in my pocket, gifted by you to buy anything of my choice. I never spent that pocket money. Today, when the world calls me a billionaire, I fully understood the real value of your gift. It reminds me of a quote by American basketball coach Jim Valvano. "My father gave me the greatest gift anyone could give another person. He believed in me." Dear Baba, the same is true for you. I miss you so much.